I've completed about 3/4 of the grinding, getting rid of all of the rust, getting rid of all the old paint. I still have this side left to do. Discovered that part of the sheet metal here that's part of the housing is starting to break apart. It looks like without the wear plate that the flapper has been pushing against the housing here to the point where it's been stretching the metal out. My guess is because it was from a bad bearing. Once I finished up the grinding, I am ready to go and weld. I have bent this all back straight, heated it up a little bit. Now I ground it down to the bare metal so I can lay a nice MIG bead down. This is the broken weld that we're dealing with here. It's pretty much cracked through the metal. And then on top side, and you also notice that I was able to straighten out where the bend was. So that's about as straight as I can get it. Everything is clean here. Getting ready to weld a bead of MIG weld here on top. And to fix that broken weld, I'll see what I can do to reinforce that as best I can. And that'll be the next step. Finished up the painting, and seems that I'm in the home stretch at this point. I was able to reinstall the auger with the new bearings. I did have to, because of the way that this side was, it looks like the guy before me hit a rock or something, or hit a wall, and it actually pushed this out a little bit. When I went to straighten this out, it actually moved this in a little bit, and as a result I had to do some grinding here, but that was actually straight. When you measure from edge to edge, it's exactly 42 inches, and that's what I want. Down here it actually is a little bit wider, but a little bit wider wasn't too bad as long as it's straight here. But I did have to do some grinding here to the piece here so that it clears, and as you could see, sorry for the jumpiness of the camera because I think the auger hit it. It's pretty much running nice and smooth now, and this thing is actually pretty heavy. So nice brand new bearings to work with. Now this is not the exact John Deere yellow, but don't care. As long as there's no more rust, that's gonna be perfect for my needs. As you can see, I've finished re-welding it. Again, it's not the cleanest. It's my first time welding, but it actually has the metal held in pretty well. Also fixed the broken weld here. So really all that's left to do, I have to install the wear plate, reinstall the scraper bar. I have all new hardware for that. And last but not least, here is the new pulley. I just put in the Woodruff key and gave it just enough clearance to where it's nice and close to the edge here. That way when I unmask this part here, it'll be straight, and shouldn't be any run out from that point. Here's an interim update. After putting in the auger, put in the wear plate, got the new bolts in there. I also replaced, well, I actually flipped the scraper bar around so I have a nice new clean edge to deal with. I also put new bolts on the bottom. These bolts are actually slightly longer so they can clear the bar. I've actually put never seize on all of the bolts and nuts here. Here's the new shoes, and coated each one graciously with enough never seize, so I shouldn't have an issue with rusted solid bolts again, although I'll probably have to keep an eye on that. Put the cover back in, and I did have to put washers on the back end here because it seems that the set screws that hold the pulley in place are a little bit too long. Even if I could cut them down, there's a tip on them, so it's actually rubbing up against the inside here. So a couple washers fixes the spacing here. I'm going to need to readjust the shoes once I get it down on the ground with the frame, just so I can adjust it properly, and I'll be able to put some feeler gauges or some sort of spacer on the bottom here. I want a very little bit of clearance from the ground here, and since this is a flat surface down here in the basement, that'll be a good way to do so. and started to put all the other things back. I unmasked all the labels. You could tell that there's a slight difference in color, but you know, again, I don't care as long as there's no rust. But kept the labels on there as normal, and I can see everything. Put the pulley on the back here, greased it, and spun it around a few times to spread it around, and seems to be nice and smooth now. Put some extra shatter pins here just in case you need them, and this I'll have to adjust for the cable for the discharge chute. Since this is all nice and clean, when I had before I had repainted it, I have some white lithium grease to spread around it so that the gears move freely, and I'm pretty much in the home stretch here. So what to do now with the impeller, at least with the flapper. I've heard plenty of different modifications that you can do with adding rubber to this, and I'm going to be following suit. Went to my local Tractor Supply, and I got the Baler all-purpose belting. It's 4 inches wide by 5 feet, 2-ply. That's all it really is I can, you know, spread a little bit on top, on the edge here. And it looks like, from the look of things, my weld was good enough to where the space between there and the space between the wear plate are almost exactly the same size, so that should make things a lot easier for the install. And as I refocus here, I'll look to put it on the front end here, because it's going to be spinning forwards like so, and I'll put the rubber and the plate on the front here. I'm going to go pick up some 1/2-inch bolts here at the store, and should be able to install that very easily. Now I do have somewhere around here, as I look around, this was a piece of round bar that or flat bar I was using to practice welding, but there's some part of it here that hasn't been welded on, and I can actually cut it to the right size and use it to put it on the top here once I cut this to size. And finally finish painting the chute here. Again, not the greatest, but it is no more rust on it. And what I'm going to have to do is the new hinge. I have the new hinge here, and I got to put some rivets in. Unfortunately, these rivets are not, if I can get a focus on it, they're not deep enough. So I have to go to Home Depot, get some deeper ones in this size, and then go and put the hinge on, and I'll be all set with that too. Once I do the flapper mod and reassemble the chute and then put the deflector back in, pretty much done. I'll just reconnect the frame and I'll be ready to go and give this a test. Got the deflector shield and the flapper mod done, and what I wanted to show everyone is what I was aiming to do is the more clearance that you take up, because the auger is basically a pump, and the more efficient that the pump is and the tighter that the tolerances are, the better that it's going to throw the snow out, even for a single stage. So the idea was to add the rubber belting, and it is tight enough against that edge of the wear plate, and I wanted to get it as close as I could to that edge where I fixed the weld. This is the clearance on the bottom here, which is pretty good. Here's a better view of that, sorry. And as it comes up around this deflector shield, you want it to be right up against it as well. So it may be a little loud when I first run it, but I'm sure it'll wear in pretty quickly. And I do have the flat stock on here. I'm just going to try it out this way and see how it works there. Please feel free to leave a comment there if there's a better way to do it. I figure just the flat stock would keep it flat up against the flapper itself. But now to put the frame on and put the chute on. Unfortunately, to get this thing out the door, I have to leave the chute off until the last minute. So I'm just going to bolt the frame together, and we should be good to go. So now that I have this on the ground, I wanted to adjust the shoes since I have a flat ground here. And being that my driveway is not flat and not even, I didn't want to have the scraper bar all the way to the floor. So what I do is, since this is a flat ground, I put a piece of baling belt here on each side and then adjusted the shoes so that I have an even gap all the way across. So I think that should protect me. It may not scrape it all the way down, but it will certainly get a lot of it. And if I have to scrape anything, I could always, grab a shovel or even put the blade back on if I have to. But I think this is going to be the safest way for my purposes. Your mileage may vary. If you want to get it all the way down to the ground on a flat surface, well, that's completely up to you. Now, I see a lot of people forget to do this, but you actually have to remove the wheels that are on the bottom here and move them up to this top one for storage. Having the wheels on here is a very amazing thing, so you can actually roll it around, but when you're using it, you obviously have to take them off. And then I've run the belt, as you can see, across the way here. I did have to loosen these up in order to get them through the guards, but now it's ready to go, and I had to replace some missing pins and clips here. I am ready to rock and roll with this, man. So I hope everyone that's been watching has found this educational, and hopefully the next video that you see of this thing in action with my driveway. I am expecting some snowstorms here in the next couple weeks, so should have a perfect opportunity to use it. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and any comments, questions, and suggestions, please leave them in the comments down below. Cheers.